Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to Good Packer Nation Morning. I'm your host, Brady Augustine, and today we are going to be talking all about the defense. We'll talk about some key stats, some things that I've seen, what I liked about the Jacksonville Jaguars game. In particular, we'll talk about the defensive backfield, and of course, we have to discuss the play of Quinten Rollins. So we'll talk about that as well, along with a little interaction and a little bit of fun. So I hope you'll join me on Good Packer Nation Morning. Good Packer Nation morning, everybody out there. I am back once again. We're going to be talking defense today. One more time, I have no coffee again. I drank my coffee earlier, and I was going to make some more just so I could have it with me, and I didn't do that. So I am coffeeless, but I'm ready to go, ready to talk some Packers. Are you ready to talk some Packers? It's time for Packer Nation Roll Call. Let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from, and we will give you a shout out this morning. Sean is back. Good morning, my good buddy there. Good to see you. Who else? Nikki says good morning. Good morning to you as well. It's Wednesday, guys. We're going to make it through. Trent is back from Thayer's Jewelry Store. I'm probably not even getting that. Thayer's Jewelers, I think, is the actual name, but Trent is back. Hector is here. Mike and Jason, Frank and Nathan. What is up, man? DM is here, and Chris, good to see you. I want to see if my buddy Sean gets on today. Hey there, Josh and Ryan. Well, yeah, guys, I know like yesterday I kind of talked like I was going to close out talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars game, but the fact of the matter is, you know, football is back. I just can't help it. I keep going back to this game because now we've got this big matchup with the Vikings coming up, and we have this one game. We have this one game that kind of can tell us a little bit about what this Packers team could bring to the big rivalry game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Packers this coming Sunday night. It's going to be interesting. Hey there, Trevor, Enrico, Angel, Edward, and Zach are on. Good to see all you guys. We got Devin from Michigan and Aaron from DeForest. I want to say DeForest, Illinois. I'm trying to think of what state, but good to see everybody. We got Zach's in Kansas. All right. How you doing out there? And Joshua from Long Beach, California. Well, yeah, guys, I went back through the stats. I went back through, the question was asked yesterday, and I want to make sure that I at least give my impression about the defensive backfield. And I think the question was asked about Randall, but I think it was meant to be Rollins, Quinten Rollins, who had a little bit of a rough game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. At one point, it looked like he had been pulled in favor of Ladarius Gunter. I'm not sure if that's exactly what was going on there. Coach McCarthy talked about that, gave an absolute vote of confidence in Quinten Rollins. He said he expects him to just take care of business. He watched the film. He's going to make the corrections. Said he has all the confidence in the world in Quinten Rollins. Now, is he overstating it is the question, right? Because we did see Rollins singled up, peek back inside, and get burned for a big play. And then he also had the touchdown pass thrown over him. So Rollins, that's a difficult thing as a DB. You see those kind of things happen, and you've got to wonder what's going on. So Maureen's asking the status of Shields. Well, today's Wednesday, so we should see the injury report come out and maybe get a little bit more information on Sam Shields. Of course, he is in the concussion protocol. I'll keep you up to date on that as much as I can. We got Verdadero. That's a cool name. From Illinois. All right, good deal. But yeah, back to Quinten Rollins. Here's the deal, guys. And I'm going to make this statement. I'm going to talk kind of generally about our defensive backfield for a little bit. My impression of the way the defense, I mean, we got gashed for some pass plays, without a doubt. But my impression is that this defensive backfield is going to be just fine, ladies and gentlemen. I watched Quinten Rollins. Yes, he peeked inside. That, to me, the touchdown pass, to me, wasn't as bad as the play where he got gashed before that, because he didn't need to look inside on that. He was singled up on the outside. We had pressure coming. Randall was headed straight for the quarterback. We had the pressure almost there. But within like half a second, we would have had a sack. If he could have stuck with his man and just not given in to the temptation of peeking inside at the quarterback and just done his job, man, we could have gotten a big-time sack on that play rather than them getting a big-time play. That, I thought, that's one thing he's just got to correct. Especially when we're sending a guy, you have got to stay sound in your technique in that play. That one was the one I was a little upset with. But on the other hand, remember at the end of this game, okay? Now, a lot of you will remember that the Jacksonville Jaguars were like within an inch of scoring a touchdown with about 47 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And guess who knocked the ball away? Quinten Rollins, all right? And not only that, but the second down play before the fourth and one that was the finish of the game, that second down play, it was Rollins who made the sure-handed tackle a yard shy of the first down marker. And then third down, I think, was an incomplete pass and brought us to fourth down. So it was that sure tackle that kept the Jacksonville Jaguars behind that. They didn't make the first down. They were a yard shy. We ended up completing 2 plays and closing the game out. And the last play of the game, who sniffed out that little screen, that little bubble screen? Quinten Rollins came in. He didn't actually make the tackle. He peeled off a little bit, but we were doing a good job of pursuing the ball. And so then, of course, Thomas comes in and whoever else it was over there, Morgan Burnett or whoever it was, and we ended out the game. So I think Quinten Rollins is going to be just fine. It looked to me, and this wasn't our finest hour in terms of pass defense, that's for sure. Now we're a nickel defense for the most part, more than any other formation. So we're going to have this where teams are going to take their opportunities underneath and inside, and we saw that happen. Add to that the fact that Jacksonville is an explosive play team. They really are. You got to give some props to those guys. There are some good players, and like I said, I would not be one bit surprised if Jacksonville doesn't run the table the rest of the way in their home games. They played a fantastic game. We, in the end, were the better team. And our defense had a lot to do with that, okay? Right? Because we were talking about how statistically we got gashed in the first half, but how many points did the Jacksonville Jaguars score in the second half of this game? 6 points. 2 field goals is all they could muster. Going into the half, our offense had started to click. We saw, and then of course we had that amazing play by Rodgers to Devontae Adams. And I turned to my son and I said, you know what? This is the kind of defense. If this is the kind of defense we had last year, they are the type of defense that can pitch a shutout in the second half if they have to. And they have to be better. And we didn't pitch a shutout, but 2 field goals in the second half. I mean, if we play 4 quarters of football like that, teams aren't going to score 12 points on us. So now we're actually underneath what my prediction was. So I'm expecting this defense to be fine. I think our defensive backfield is going to be that type. It's going to give up those plays underneath. We do have to do a better job tackling, and we did make some mistakes. But to some extent, I'm looking at this defensive backfield in particular, and it looks to me like they're shaking some rust off. This was a hot game, and it looked to me like it was just a defensive backfield that still had some bugs to work out, and I think we're going to be fine. Now, that said, it's not going to get any easier against Minnesota, so we have to get things corrected without a doubt. But I did go back and look up how well the Packers defense did on third downs, because I was astounded at how well we did on third downs. The problem in this game came because of the fact that we had 4 fourth down plays, one of which was to finish the game. And in 112 degree heat down on the field, it was 112 degrees for crying out loud. I mean, that is hot, folks. It is very difficult to play defense in 112 degrees when you've got to play 4 down football. It's much easier for the offense in that case because they know exactly where everybody's going to be. They control the tempo, et cetera, et cetera. The Packers' third down efficiency on defense, we held the Jacksonville Jaguars to 26% third down conversion. So if we can keep that up, generally speaking, those are going to be drive-killing plays. All of those third downs in most games are going to be drive-killing plays, or at least force our opponents into a field goal situation. So I am liking the way that this defense looks, even though there were some ugly plays in this game without question. But I am liking the way this defense looks. Hey, Dylan is here. He made it. All right, good to see you, bro. And Lisa and Andrew and everybody. But we're talking about the defense. I think this defense is going to be good. I think that they showed once again that they have grit. These guys have grit. Just put yourself in the situation. 112 degrees, and you know it's 4-down football every time. And you make the play on 3rd down, and then you just got to go and do it again. Defenses are hardwired to make the play on 3rd down because 3rd down is usually the play you have to make. It's rare in the NFL that we go for it on 4th down. We're doing a little bit more recently, I believe. But in this game, it had to be psychologically daunting. And this team got it done when it mattered. I was really happy about this defense. I think, we got 3 sacks in this game. We distributed them. I think I said that. That's a little bit interesting. I think our defensive rotation is looking really good now. We have to get through another 3 games without Pennell, but when he comes back, we're going to have a little more depth with the big guys up front. And look at what Guyon and Daniels were able to do in this game and having to play as many reps as they had to play in the heat. And then we get Pennell back later and the rotation gets a little bit deeper. And Kenny Clark will come on. I think Kenny Clark will come on later in the season. He is a young player. And I think he's going to be okay later on in the season. And I think it's good. If we can survive to get Pennell back, then we'll have a chance to develop him a little bit more. But I'm liking this defense. I am liking this defense. And I think we have the opportunity against the Minnesota Vikings. If we can play, 4 quarters the way we played the last 2 in Jacksonville, we're going to win this game. If we have trouble dialing things in again for a half, it's going to be then up to our offense to match. We will see about that because the Minnesota Vikings defense they look like they're everything they're cracked up to be. It's going to be a tough test for the Green Bay Packers coming up Sunday night. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I did want to talk about the defensive backfield. Morgan Burnett hadn't seen hardly any playing time. He was the elite tackler, all right? I did want to talk about tackle distribution to some extent, too. It shows what a nickel defense does, and I can probably get this up really quick. So Morgan Burnett with 8 tackles and an assist. Jake Ryan with 6 tackles and assists. But then you got 5 for HaHa Clinton-Dix, 5 for Demarius Randall, 4 for Martinez. You can see that our defense, we're going to have clusters of tackles in that defensive backfield. And if we tackle better than we did in the game against Jacksonville, we're going to be okay. This is what happens. We're going to have this tackle distribution in the defensive backfield and, of course, the linebackers. You expect your inside linebackers to have a lot of tackles. But Morgan Burnett with a good game, 8 tackles. That's a good game for him, a good way to start the season. I see a neighbor walking by. I don't know, it just caught my eye, but it's weird. But then you add to that up front, as we can get deeper, we're going to be fine. I like the way Nick Perry played. I like the way Jones played. I like the way, obviously, Clay Matthews played. We've got some things we need to clean up, but I think we're going to be fine. It'll be interesting coming Sunday night. I am not sure. I want to do some interaction here, but I'm trying to think of, I don't have anything written down. I was impressed, though, with the 3rd down efficiency, and I wanted to mention we held them to 4 first downs on 3rd out of 15 attempts, and that's 26%. That's a very telling statistic to me. And you look at so again, if we can there are some comparisons between the Jaguars and the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, the Vikings are a playoff team. The Jaguars have been kind of bottom dwellers for a while, but they certainly did not look like it in this game. Now, Yeldon is no Adrian Peterson. So obviously, like we said yesterday, job 1 is going to be to stop Adrian Peterson. But if we can force the Vikings to throw the ball around, I think we are going to be in good shape. Sean is saying the Bakhtiari deal was huge. Yeah, that was good. Good to see yesterday. And to know that we're starting to bring around our offensive line for the future. What's my take on the release of Spiller? Spiller was one of those guys. Chris is asking about the release of Spiller. He just couldn't stay healthy. But if I'm remembering right, CJ Spiller was one of those guys. Did he come out with Marshawn Lynch? One of those guys had a lot in Packer Nation. Remember, before Eddie Lacy came along, we were struggling, actually before James Starks in 2010. We were struggling to keep our running game alive. We had no running game to speak of. And if I remember right, CJ Spiller was on a lot of Packer fans' radar in that draft. And I can't remember if it was Marshawn Lynch that was coming out in that same year or not. But CJ Spiller, the guy just couldn't stay healthy, and he ended up being drafted by the Bills, I believe, and then bounced around a little bit and couldn't make it work. We have the comment up, not afraid of Adrian Peterson, and that's I think that's exactly how our defense is thinking too. They're not afraid of him. Now, I am going to say he is a different back altogether than Yeldon, and it's a completely different style. This guy is a dominant back. He is a guy that can carry the team on his shoulders. Add to that the fact that the Vikings understand that their best chance of winning against the Green Bay Packers and pulling off this U.S. Bank opener, regular season opener, is to feed the ball to Adrian Peterson. So you have the chance that what if he can wear down defenses as well. But that goes back again. I love the way Mike McCarthy framed the win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, that he said it was a good adversity win. And I think it will pay dividends for the Packers, the fact that we had to buckle down in the worst conditions for a defense in particular. Those are the worst conditions, 112 degrees and fourth down every single time. You knew you had 4 downs. I mean, that's just rough. But I think it's going to pay dividends for us down the road. Now, here's one thing I have a concern with. I believe that we had a big emotional win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a game that came down to the wire. It came to a final defensive play. We played it in the heat. It takes a while to recover from that heat. I want to see this team, and this is a team of professionals, okay? But I want to see this team be able to bounce back and have the same amount of energy as they did with the season opener. So we'll see about that. I'm expecting it. Hey, Phil's on board, it looks like. But I want to see this team bounce back and have the same kind of energy and the same drive. And I want to see Daniels get nasty. He always is. I want to see Guyon get nasty. And I want to see Pepper show up in this one. I think he will. I think we're going to see more of him, and I think he'll show up. But again, this defense could be special. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, hey, and one thing I was thinking through too, and I've had talked about this before. In fact, I think I either mentioned it to Jonah or Robert. One thing about this Packers team. Okay, because, it's easy to get excited, right? We were in the preseason. We were playing our third-string quarterback the entire preseason, basically. And we were beating people. He was playing well. We were playing thirds versus fifths, or firsts, twos on ones, quite a bit of this preseason, okay? So it's easy to get excited because of the way we match up now. But one thing I want to say about that is that doesn't say anything for our ones. The top end of our football team is still the same top end that we had in the past, aside from having Jordy Nelson back, getting Jared Cook, et cetera, but it's the same. What that depth is going to do for us is it's going to pay dividends down the road. When the going gets tough, that depth is going to really help us out, and it's extremely important. In a season in which our bye week is like week 4 or whatever it is. It's week 4, right? It's going to pay dividends because down the road, guys like Kenny Clark, our younger players, are going to be able to step in there with fresher legs, even though, you've got the rookie wall to deal with and all that. But also we have guys with a lot of experience. Remember, before the preseason began, I said if we can get these young guys in and keep the veterans out, number one, we limit the risk of losing a veteran. And we manage that this year. And number two, we make our team better because the depth now has that much more experience. That was why I was very excited to see Brett Hundley play this year, which he never got to do. But that depth could pay dividends for us down the road. So we need to keep an eye on that. And so coming up, we've got the Packers versus the Vikings. It's Wednesday, and I can't wait for Sunday to get here, for crying out loud. And now it's a Sunday night game. Israel says, what's up to everybody? Adams is back up. And it's a Sunday night game. So I want to push the little sad face, the little crying face emoji right now, because I can't freaking wait for this game. All right. Right now, just roll up in the comments. What are your thoughts on this game? Are you completely confident? Are you watching this one closely because you know it could be a tight game? Are you concerned? What are your concerns out there? What are your concerns? What is your feeling about the Minnesota Vikings game? Packers versus Vikings. Second game of the season. We've got to play this away again. A lot of you out there are sad faced too. We got to wait till Sunday night, for crying out loud. But at least there's football during the day. Okay, so that helps. But what are your thoughts? Derek says, great measuring stick on how the team will shape up. This is a great point by Derek, right? If number one, if we can beat the Vikings, we go 2-0 to start the season. We're off to a fast start. Number two, it's a division opponent. Extremely important, because job one in your division is winning the division. Guaranteeing yourself a playoff spot. And then number two, this is the division champions. Number three, I can't count. The count doesn't matter. But also, this is the division champions. They came into our turf and beat us last time. It's time for us to return the favor. Thumbs up if you think it's time for the Packers to return the favor. At home at US Bank Stadium, it's time for the Packers to return the favor and take down the Vikings in their regular season opener at their new stadium. Can I get a thumbs up for that? I mean, without a doubt, we need to do this. But then also, it really puts us a leg up, because remember, we've got that stretch, and at the end of the season, we have all three division rivals right down there in December to finish out the season. So we talked about how, and there's a lot of, I've seen Vic Ketchman say this, and I don't want to bash anybody, but I get tired of people saying that football really starts in December. Guys, every game matters. This is the NFL. How can you say football begins in December? Like, the games get exciting in December? The games are exciting in September, in October, in November, in December, in January, and in February, as far as I'm concerned. The reason it gets more exciting in December is because now we start to see what the picture is, what the playoff picture is. We start to see what the situation is, right? But the situation depends on what we do in September and in October and then in November. This game, early game against the Minnesota Vikings, could change the picture dramatically down the stretch in December. Could make a big difference, as a matter of fact. Just think, if we can steal one from the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, and then we go down the stretch, now we've got this schedule that's considered soft. I think the NFL has done a great job of making this a grueling schedule. And then come back, and the Vikings have to return to Lambeau this time. And we get a shot at knocking them off. We get a shot, perhaps at that point, looking at home field advantage. Now, like you say, it is exciting to watch because the playoff scenarios come around in December. But the reason those playoff scenarios can be favorable and exciting for the Green Bay Packers is because of what they do in September and October. Guys, this is an important game coming up. Trevor's saying that the Vikings defense won the game for him. Their defense does look quite good, and we expect them to be good. Their offense, is going to rely on Adrian Peterson. I think that they're going to have. They actually didn't look like they were trying to get Hill to just manage the game. They look like they're pretty confident in these couple of quarterbacks that are having to fill in. We don't know necessarily which one. I asked Phil yesterday, I don't know if you were on, Phil, but who's going to start at quarterback for the Vikings. So we'll see about that, because apparently Zimmer is kind of keeping it close to the vest. It's understandable. Better for the Packers to have to, for them, if the Packers have to prepare for two. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a heck of a game. Again, another thing today, I will try to catch up tomorrow, because hopefully if the injury report comes out, we'll have some news on Sam Shields. I don't think, again, that Randall Cobb obviously didn't show up. On the injury report, he got that little tweak of the ankle or knee, whichever it was. He came back in and played. He looked like he was fine. I just don't want to see Randall Cobb have to play another season like he did last year, where he basically was hurt the whole year. So far, knock on wood, so good. You know, a little concerned about Sam Shields, but we have been able to manage the injuries thus far. So hopefully we can continue that as well. That's another thing. You can go into Minnesota, and we might be able to steal a game from them too. But then you look, and against a defense like that, we've got to be very careful because injuries can start at week 2 of the season against a tough opponent like the Minnesota Vikings. But it's going to be an interesting week. It's Wednesday. You guys are going to make it. I promise you. I know I don't have to go into a traditional job, and I just want to stop for a moment and just say thank you to you guys. What I do, and I don't make a lot of money, but what I do, I get to do what I love. And they say if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. So I feel like I'm not working a day in my life. You guys make it easy for me, but I do appreciate it. So I'm going to sign off, guys. If you haven't gotten on for your chance to get the ring, we're getting more and more folks jumping on GreenBayPackerNation.com, signing up for the new game that's coming out. We floated that post at the top of our website, GreenBayPackerNation.com. If you want to jump in early, you get perks for getting in early. And all you got to do is give me your name, your phone number, and your email address, and I will personally send you a text because it's a mobile device, so we need a mobile phone because that's where the app is going to come to. So you're not going to get the app now. It has not even seen the light of day just yet. There is a preview on GreenBayPackerNation.com, and our trophy for GPN is the Precious. And as of yesterday, we keep adding prizes to this thing because you're playing for prizes in the game, real life prizes, okay? Number 2, if you win, you get the trophy, and you get to do a video, a 30-second video, smack talking me, pretty much no holds barred, except don't cuss me out. But now they're asking for the shirt off my back. Somebody wanted my glasses. I'm going to end up doing a show naked by the time it's all said and done, which nobody wants to see. And but yeah, at least we got MJs, we got Precious. Yeah. It is a beautiful thing. We've been having a ton of fun with this, guys, and I really think Packer Nation is going to be represented well with this new game coming out. Again, it has not seen the light of day. We got, Hearts for Precious here? Just got in. Rollins thoughts. Henry, I did the whole show about it. The whole show was about the defensive backfield, basically, and I talked about Rollins. Let me recap. Yeah, exactly. Tom's like, no, don't do that. We don't want that. You don't want. Oh, this is an awesome shirt, actually. This is a sailing shirt. This is the most comfortable shirt you could ever wear, but yeah, it doesn't say Packers or anything on it. If they did one with a green and then and gold, gold around it, it would be awesome. And it said Packers across the top. This would be an awesome shirt. I'll see if I can get one made. All right, recap on Rollins. My take, okay? This is my opinion, but I watched very closely. He is going to be fine. Mike McCarthy said he is going to be fine. He has his quote unquote all the confidence in the world in Quinten Rollins. Excuse me. He's going to be fine. He made a mistake or two, but again, he was not playing against any slouches out there. Jacksonville Jaguars led the league. More explosive plays than the Arizona Cardinals, guys. More explosive plays than the Arizona Cardinals. Okay. So yes, he made a mistake or two, but look at the end of the game to see where is his needle pointed, up or down. The end of the game, Rollins deflects the 47 seconds to go, and they take a shot in the end zone and would have basically won the game. Rollins breaks it up. Fantastic play. Almost intercepted it. Second down with even less time to go. The second down play, okay? Where we stopped the Jacksonville Jaguars 1 yard short. Third down was an incomplete pass. That second down stop, who made the tackle? In open field tackle. In a game where we had trouble tackling. Quinten Rollins. 1 yard shy. So that was second down. Then third down is incomplete. Where does that bring you to in the game? Final play of the game. 4th and 1. Who reads the bubble screen? Who sniffs it out? And who is the first one to the ball? Quinten Rollins. Now, he peeled off that tackle. We followed it up, but he sniffed it out. He got the job done, guys, okay? So that's my sort of short take on Quinten Rollins. He's going to be just fine. Coach McCarthy believes in him. I believe in him too, Quinten. I think you're a fine up-and-coming player. You're going to have a fantastic year. I wish HaHa would have gotten his interception in this. That's one thing I hate, because HaHa had a great game and got his pick, and then they took it back. Anyway, are we picking up C.J. Spiller? We'll see. I wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't be too excited about it if we did. We'll see. MJ says Rollins will be fine. Yeah, I agree. And I didn't make any mistakes. But again, let me say one more time. I tell this to everyone in the companies that I've worked for. Everyone that I work with here. There are folks that come in here. I say you learn much more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. You learn more from your failures than your successes. So that game is behind us. Now we get to learn from any failures we had and take those into the this upcoming game against the Vikings. Yeah, if we sign Spiller, basically what we're doing is let's sign an old player that can't stay healthy and take away the job of a young up-and-coming player possibly. So it's kind of a balance, but we will see. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for interacting. I need to have more polls, I think, tomorrow, because I love those. They're so much fun, but I didn't prepare any really today. So have a great day. It's Wednesday, unless you are Mr. Sir Dixon over there, who always rubs our noses in Australia. He is one day closer to the Sunday matchup with the Vikings. But have a great day. I will talk to you again tomorrow. And remember, jump on greenbaypackernation.com, sign up to get the ring. Bye, folks. Have a good one.